Did you guys have to go through the security? Wasn't set up yet.
We got municipal court tonight. That's why all the people are here. Yeah.
What is it?
Court.
Oh.
Municipal court.
Yeah, there's a big crowd out front.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of visitors.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, hey, we do.
Yeah. I don't know. I asked Yvonne, but she didn't really give me an answer.
We hate no.
Stevie's is about 5 minutes late on the way.
Okay. We'll still.
Yeah, I think so. And you said that Emily's gonna be on lunch.
She should be.
She said she'll be
late.
Okay, well, we have 2 minutes. We'll wait for Emily.
Jerry, he caught me at a time today that I was like, take all the help I can get, but it might be a conflict of interest if you, usually you can't be on a commission and be in a.
I was gonna get hired by the Parks Department, so I
come and help water.
So I could get
But
paid 1 hour a week to water.
I did
from the
ask,
truck.
I did ask Scott or send him an email asking if green space members would be allowed to use a truck. I don't know, probably not, but I never asked. But I was thinking I could maybe
carry like arms full of watering cans down the creek.
Yeah, I was thinking about setting up a trailer.
Oh,
It has a big water tank on it, and then I can drop the truck where we need to water, and then somebody could show up.
Supposed to rain for like 6 days.
Where?
I saw them down there. Great.
Mike out or Carter.
Even which one?
I was in there 3
Oh, yeah. Can you?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning.
We do the airport tomorrow.
Yeah, I was.
I know,
Well,
I'm
yeah,
trying to
and
and
I
then
mean, I
I was trying to get
gonna
as much done as
water there
possible.
before the.
I know,
end.
tomorrow
Friday.
morning. Tomorrow. And then
I still have
rain.
1
Yeah.
more, so it took,
So.
it's
yard
5
work.
loads.
I'm in Grading Hill now.
5
So
loads.
I'll like
Yeah.
just grading all the time. So I'll need a break to come.
Well,
So
I've done that before. That's watering the bird sanctuary.
Saturday or
I did that earlier this weekend.
I can probably do that.
Well,
It's not going anywhere.
It takes 30 minutes on full.
Sounds good. And thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
She's not coming though.
Like I said,
Yeah, and then the other.
Yeah.
It's gonna rain.
She just
Big
kept.
Yeah.
Where you'll see it,
And
it's like this little cut and I like shakes it down and stuff. And it's like, like out of nowhere, like sprout like
Yeah.
a wave, like me,
I'll
like where Fonz and
I don't know water.
shoot coming up. I'm like, all right, you're
But even.
You're right to go.
Or
Yeah.
first thing Friday morning.
I'll get
All
back.
right.
I'll find a spot.
I just thought of
We call the meeting to order.
I want to leaf mulcher that one.
Nice.
I needed to talk about it.
Just interject that throughout.
I will talk about it later.
Leave mulcher break.
All right, we're starting the meeting, and Liz, could you do a roll call?
I would love to. But I didn't.
Oh, here.
Okay, Carrie.
Here.
Oh. Ginger.
She's 9 years tonight.
Oh, you already did it. Linda.
Yes.
Bill.
Bill.
No, I'm here.
Gotcha.
You gotta talk louder.
Okay. I'm here. Laura.
Here.
Joe.
Here.
Jerry.
Here.
Corin.
I'm here.
Emily.
Not
Not
yet.
yet.
I'm gonna get her here. Yvonne.
Here.
Okay. Did everybody get a chance to read through the March minutes?
Zooming, if that makes any difference.
Well, did you read through the minutes that got sent out? Yeah, does somebody want to make a motion to approve the minutes? Or was it? Anyone?
Make a motion to approve.
All right,
I'll second it.
all right. Document that.
And document it.
April 5th minutes approved. All right, visitor comments. We've got a visitor coming. She's a couple minutes late. So we'll move on to the first line of old business, which kind of is part of the new business. But we have to elect. Did y'all read the file we got from Yvonne?
Section 311.
I gotta be honest, I did not.
Okay.
I looked at it and I'm like.
It was very short, so I read it out.
Oh, I read the, are you sure you read the right
No.
one? I was like.
First, when you said that, the two documents you said that were one-page documents.
No, one was one page.
Okay. I
Okay.
read the first page.
Okay, so go back and read it, but we have to, I think the three things that are most pertinent are that we have to have a vice chair and a secretary. And I think Yvonne, are minutes okay the way they are? Are we doing? I've never really used Robert. We're also required to use Robert's Rules of Order, and I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's been okay.
We are.
We are. So
We need a lesson in it, I think.
I haven't had
just when it
anybody.
comes to a new business motion to vote. It's
Okay,
otherwise.
well, so we need to elect, I guess I will volunteer to be chair, to continue the chair.
I second that.
Third.
Yeah.
Okay, so we made a motion to keep me chair, maybe note that.
Do we need a motion for that?
I probably, if we're gonna make a
Okay.
vote.
I make a motion that Harry Sid, Chair of Green Space Advisory Commission.
I second.
Okay.
Discussion.
See, you do know.
Then we have to vote. Then we have to vote.
Maybe-
Have a discussion.
Okay, do we
I used to
need
be
to
president of
discuss
the Webster
it?
Rose Foundation.
Right.
I don't think.
No discussion.
I don't
then
think we
can
need
go
to
a vote.
discuss it. Vote. For me to
Aye.
be chair. Okay,
Yeah.
That's about all there is to Rob. We got rules for.
right,
We
okay,
did it.
good. So Ginger has volunteer to be secretary if no one else wants to be secretary.
She's not here. Do you have her approval?
Yeah, she wrote me. I can add this to the minutes if we need
I make
to.
a motion that Ginger be secretary of the Green Space.
Okay.
Commission.
And Corin seconded the
We
motion.
built it too.
Okay, then we need to take a
Discussion?
vote of discussion.
I'm surprised she volunteered. That's my only.
I second that.
That was my discussion, yeah.
One thing I learned in the army is you don't volunteer.
Right.
It really, well, here's what she said.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do need document approved. You should hold
I
it
will-
up to the camera.
She said, if there's no takers for secretary, I'll do it.
Rookie mistake.
Can we fight a little bit and have a backup just because it's a lot of writing and stuff. I mean, it's good to have just
Well, you could,
some backup.
I think
So it doesn't
Ginger
get
would
too-
like backup.
So it doesn't get too overwhelming for
Right.
one person.
Right, but I think according to the,
I know we have to
okay, so Ginger's a secretary, but anybody's, able to
volunteer to
help
take over.
if they need to. Okay, then the last,
And we need to vote.
we need to vote. Is everybody, or whatever?
I, for Ginger.
We all vote.
Thank you.
Approved.
For secretary. Okay, did you write that down? Motion approved.
It's already in there.
Okay. So the last thing we need to do is vote for a vice chair.
What's a vice chair do?
A vice chair in the event of the absence or disability of the chair or a vacancy in the office shall assume and perform the duties and functions of the chair.
So a backup, basically.
Yeah.
Anybody want to volunteer?
I'll
for
do it.
vice chair?
I helped you before.
Here we go.
I make a motion. See the vice chair of the Green Space Advisory.
I second, yeah, I second that.
Yeah.
Discussion.
I think you'll
Look
do
how
it.
quick we're giving it.
Alright.
vote?
Aye.
Linda, you gonna vote?
Oh, yes, definitely.
And by the way, Ginger also voted for Joe.
I was surprised to notice, I mean, just to do a little comment here, that they changed the rules on how long we can serve.
Yeah, so that was the other thing I was
Just
gonna
a
read.
major thing.
There is a term limit that
Yeah.
is
And they
happening.
can you without cause too. Says that.
Say what?
They can fire.
Fire you.
Term for the chair.
For no cause.
I think they do.
I don't remember seeing.
It just seems like a.
Well, Parks Board used to be 2-3 years.
I
But
read.
I was on it for
Oh,
3
maybe
years.
what?
Okay,
They took 1 year off. And they found the green space in that.
Some of the committees, they say the city council's gonna pick the members and others, they don't mention it, but they mention it at the very beginning.
yeah,
In the forward part.
Well, they approved us.
yeah,
Laura and I had to go through a grueling interview process.
yeah, everybody.
Remember with masks on,
Yes.
because I was in lab.
Okay, regarding excused absences.
I'm
the
gonna go
city-
let Stacy in.
Okay, the city council may excuse any absence for good cause shown, including but not limited to absences related to ill health. Except as otherwise provided by the boards. Committees can meet more often than monthly. Any member who accumulates 8 or more unexcused absences from regularly scheduled meetings during any 12-month period shall automatically forfeit that member's appointment without further action.
8, you can miss 8. It used to be
More than fair.
It used to be 3.
Yeah,
8 out of 12.
Who knows on Parks Board? We don't have 8, do we?
So I guess the next 7.
We have.
I'll see you next year.
Yeah.
No, that's if you meet, that's if you meet more often than monthly.
Oh.
Okay. From monthly meetings, except
No, I
as
think it's
otherwise provided by the Board of Commissions, that if we meet monthly, any member who accumulates 4 or more unexcused absences
Okay.
from regularly scheduled meetings during the 12-month period shall forfeit their members' appointment. So it's 4 for us.
Okay.
And who determines?
Stacy, you wanna sit down?
Who determines the excuse? Like.
Um,
Excused or unexcused?
Well, it's unexcused if you don't call and
You know.
excuse yourself, right? No.
You don't have a
call
good
them.
It's like being out of town for being excused.
I don't know, is that a typical excuse?
If you give a 2-week
What's an
notice,
excused
Jerry.
absence?
If you give a 2-week notice,
Yeah, I
you
think.
know.
If they
good job.
notice don't show, that's considered a non-excused.
I did that once
All
last
of-
year.
All
I usually
appointments,
gone on June, the first week of June.
That was embarrassing.
put it in an email. All appointments to boards and commissions shall be made by the city council. All reappointments to the boards shall be made by the city council unless explicitly stated otherwise in this chapter. All boards and commission members shall serve a term of 3 years unless explicitly stated otherwise in this chapter. Each member of the board or commission may serve a maximum of 2 full terms on a commission unless explicitly stated otherwise in this chapter. If an open position on a board or commission has been advertised for 45 days and there are no new applicants, members may be appointed for an additional full term in excess of the 2 full terms served. Previous board or commission members who have previously served 2 terms or more on a board or commission are eligible to reapply to the board and commission after 1 year away from service. So those are, so read that when you have a chance to understand the term limits.
It's 3 and 3.
Two full 3 year.
And
We
then
came in-
if you want to do it again, you have to have a year off.
Yeah,
I think
I thought I took over like.
oh, no, we don't.
Yeah.
Katie would know
Katie.
term limits.
so am I.
It's in the last roster, that
Katie would know term.
the last roster you circulated, the
You're right.
PDF has everybody's name.
So we have a chair, a vice chair, and a secretary now. Thank you, guys. So I guess, Liz, if you could complete the minutes for this, then Ginger will take over from there.
Wonderful.
Okay. So we're gonna go back up on the agenda and meet with our visitor, Stacey Arnold, who I think everybody here, I know she's been to our commission before.
I've been around.
Well, you've met with us before.
Yeah.
It's been
a little while since I've met with the commission, but I've been to a lot of city events and.
Thanks for the talk.
Oh,
great.
yeah. Thank you for having me.
Emily's here.
Emily's here.
Hi, sorry, I grabbed Ginger's link, so it says I'm Ginger, but it's me. I'll try to change my name.
That's okay. So, you're gonna talk to us tonight about a grant opportunity for the city, is that?
Yeah,
Okay.
so now that we have the approved Deer Creek 319 Deer Creek Watershed Management plan that's been accepted, not approved, accepted by US EPA and MoDNR, that allows certain entities to be able to apply for 319 funding, which deals with non-point source pollution. So while some of you may not have a goal of improving water quality, there's a lot of stack benefits to native landscaping, which the city has shown a huge interest in over the years, and removal of honeysuckle, woodland restoration, those types of projects. And so I've been in conversation with Yvonne and her boss, Scott, just kind of brainstorming about submitting a 319 application. I did assist the city. The first step is to provide a notice of intent to MoDNR, because although these are federal funds that come from EPA, you go through MoDNR because there's sub grants. And so the funding does come down from EPA, but you work with MoDNR to apply and to get the funding. And so the first step was early April. Whoever wants to apply for that current round of funding that they had a request for proposals for, were to submit a notice of intent, which I worked with the city on, and we did submit a notice of intent in early April. And MoDNR invited the city of Webster Groves to apply for the current round of funding based on the notice of intent. And so what that really is kind of a protection step, if you will. So they don't want to get applications that wouldn't qualify for funding, and they want to make sure that if somebody's going to go through the work to submit an application, because applications are a lot of work, that you have the right types of projects in mind. And so that step has been crossed. And now I've brainstormed with Yvonne and Scott a little bit on what they would possibly want included in that application. And we thought it would be a good idea to kind of meet with you guys and toss some ideas around, just to make sure that you know, everybody's on the same page, and that we are you know, including the commission as well on the proposal.
How large is the grant for this type of project? Like, what's the maximum you can?
So it's $400,000, and we wrote the notice of intent to go for the full 400,000. That doesn't mean once we sit down and start tossing the numbers around, that could be subject to change, but we wanted to make sure, you know, and have that full amount in there, which I feel like, you know, we can find ways to spend. Especially one thing is you have to have 40% match. And so you have to be pretty strategic in terms of coming up with match. So sometimes if the match can't be met solely by City of Webster, it might be a good idea to take on other neighboring projects or something like that, bring in more partners to help meet that match.
Who could that be, like MSD or?
So that's a good example. other, like maybe neighboring municipalities or organizations like Great Rivers Greenway could be a possible partner. I know they have some projects in mind as well and may be interested in getting funding. So if the city wasn't able to spend that full $400,000 and come up with the match needed for that, then you can start to, you know, include others in the 319 grant.
Okay.
Do you have a rough outline of the aims that you want?
Of the what?
Aims?
The goals.
The
Like,
goal?
did you talk about any projects in particular?
Yeah, so we brainstormed and we think there's a really, really good fit, and we'll see if you guys agree. So I'm gonna back up a little bit. So like back in 2017, I worked for the Missouri Botanical Garden on the Deer Creek Watershed Alliance project. And back in 2017, our technical advisory group, which Yvonne and Carrie both serve on, met to brainstorm and have a charrette for the Brentwood Wetland project, which that's what that grew out of. And so now the city of Brentwood just recently purchased that property, and we're working on coming up with a design for that project right now. And so in doing that, I noticed in those notes that the technical advisory group had recommended reforesting the riparian corridor, having a forested riparian corridor that would be restored and enhanced on both sides. And their recommendation was at least 100 foot of riparian corridor on both sides of the creek to be forested. And so even before that, when I was brainstorming with Yvonne and Scott, that's where their minds were going as well. So it seemed like the stars really aligned to be on that project. And through my conversation with Mo DNR working on the Deer Creek Watershed Alliance project, they saw those recommendations as well. And they're like, how are you going to attain partnerships on the other side? And how's that all going to align if the other side gets, you know, the riparian corridor gets forested and all that. So it seems like to me, things are really coming together, and there's a really good case in terms of working in that area.
So that's the area to the south of the Metro link, between the Metrolink and Marshall, Metrolink. Metro bus thing.
Okay.
You guys all know where that is?
Just that section.
It's like Brentwood and Kirkham and Marshall.
Marshall, yeah.
A metro station.
Well,
I mean,
Metro
But-
bus headquarters.
Right, the depot.
It's Brentwood, and then
Yeah.
so does that butt up against Webster, right? Like it's-
Yeah, so Webster owns one side of the creek, and it's currently turf and then some invasives, right, Yvonne? Yeah, and so that would be really cool to have a, you know, really nice section of the creek fully restored on both sides, riparian corridors being, you know, restored and enhanced.
you know the sycamores right there? There's a bald eagle that comes through. both ways, and then often.
Yeah,
They should. There's some protection or something available.
the minimal site disturbance is what we're looking at on both sides. And so,
And then because there's endangered species on it, there's something available.
Yeah.
additional for that.
yeah, I agree. Protecting any trees, like having tree protection protocols in terms of both projects, which the Brentwood wetlands piece will be separate from this, obviously, but they're going to be working together, right? And so when the design gets proposed for the Brentwood wetland, that's going to come before our technical advisory group. So Yvonne and Carrie will both be able to comment on that side of the project, and then also be engaged fully on the other side. So I think it.
How far down from Brentwood on the Webster side would it go? Past Owens Ridge or?
Well, we have that Marshall trailhead. So it goes right up to our,
That's the only area
Yeah.
you're talking about, right? now?
yeah, well, and then we want to do Shady Creek Park as well. We want to graze the goats. And what I've been reading
So-
is if you graze them 3 years in a row, you could really eradicate some species, so.
So you're talking about the nature sanctuary?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you see it potentially as multiple.
Yeah,
projects.
so that's
Okay.
another idea that Yvonne had, obviously.
As part of the same proposal.
Mhm. So the project would run for 3 years. And so applying for these funds would come in, let's see, we're in 2023, this always gets me and everybody else. So it could be an October 1 of 2024 start date, because this application is for fiscal year 2024 funds. And so then the project would last 3 years.
3 years from the start date.
Mhm.
Is that 400 a year or total?
Total for the full 3 years of the project. So that's the maximum time frame, and that's the maximum amount of funding. So
Is Brentwood getting funding for their project through this, or are they doing that?
no, so they were part of the Deer Creek Watershed Alliance Phase 5 application for the wetlands. There has been no partnership with the Alliance on the Brentwood Bound project, just the wetlands.
Right.
Which is separate. And so the Brentwood wetland comes in with the phase 5 of the alliance, which started January 1 and will run through the end of 2020.
Okay, so they'll,
Wait, 25.
so they'll be doing
My
their
face is
project and we'll interface. If we were to do this, we would interface with them as they're going through their process to say, this is what we could do potentially to maximize the benefits here
Yeah.
on our side.
Yeah, so there would be the final Brentwood wetland design. The final design is slated to be by the end of this year. Is when we plan on having that in terms of deliverables. And so that would be, you know, available for a guide, and there's going to be a lot of partners around the table on that, including you guys in terms of the technical advisory group and being a neighboring municipality. I think that's important anyways. And so we'll have that in place and can kind of pick and choose pieces if you're not 100% on board with how the riparian corridor gets designed on that side, maybe just, you know, pick and choose and incorporate part of it on the other side, because we see the design for the Webster side being part of it. So not going into this with the project design, but having part of the funds come for the design and then the implementation and some of the maintenance. Which some of that will be staff match time and stuff like that.
Then any of the preliminary work available online or anything?
For the project that's already started.
Brentwood's project.
Is there any preliminary work?
Is there anything available to look at on Brentwood project now?
No, because there's not a design yet. So that's I'm trying to think. I mean, it's mentioned throughout the Deer Creek Watershed Management Plan in terms of scheduling and things like that, but
But there's no drawings.
no, because they don't exist, even though some people may say they exist right now, they don't, because I just sent the RFP for the design out to all the partners. So they're looking at just the request for proposals for that design. And our timeline is to have the final by the end of this year. And so the technical advisory group will meet in October, review the second draft is kind of what I have in mind, not the final, but the second, to allow for more adaptations. And then we'll have the final for that project by the end of this year, which we can share with everyone. We can make that available.
So design will be part of year 1 of this project, the 319?
The Brentwood.
No. So that has to be done in the first year, right?
Yeah, and it can be more expedited, you know, you could allow the first 6 months to be the design phase and then install in the fall. That can all be up in the air in terms of timing, but yeah, I would say, work on the design, you know, as soon as the project starts, and then you can have it. So if it starts October 1, I mean, I haven't thought through a timeline yet till we figure out which direction we're heading, but if the project starts October 1, you could have the design, you know, finalized by say summer of, spring or summer, and then be ready to hit the ground in the fall, which I think we all like fall plantings better.
Yeah, but we might want to get the goats and
in there, yeah.
Right away.
So they could be in there grazing while the design.
And they actually wanted to, I met with them last night, they can now put them on GPS.
Oh.
And they said it'd be better if they could both sides of the creek, so Brentwood side and our side.
Oh.
Brentwood actually own the part of the Webster side of the creek.
Yes, but I think they, what is the term that annexed? I want to say that that was the annexed.
So let's think that through. So if it's October 1 of 2024 start date, and when did I say?
25.
Yeah, so that project will be getting installed in 2024 is when it would be installed, because the design's the end of this year. And then we would be installing next year. And so we'd have to see how grazing both sides might work. It may be that we get the goats in there through October, and then if it's not too late, think about installing November, but could that be pushing in terms of the trees and stuff along the riparian corridor?
Possibly. I'm wondering if, well, I feel like we're getting into the details of things. Yeah.
So I don't know if the goats could graze both sides, but but there would be an opportunity for the design to be, you know, the initial part of the Webster project, and the goats to be grazing while the design's being hashed out, if that's what everybody wants to do.
So it sounds like there's at least 2 projects that could fit into here. Do you see other?
We had talked a little bit about
being funded by
some restabilization of the banks at Deer Creek, where they were kind of affected by the flooding by the bridge. That was the only other thing that we talked briefly about, but I didn't send you any information.
Well, it sounds like, you know, we can obviously give you like verbal support. How else can we support this? I mean, if there were projects, we could help with volunteer time, right? And that gets
not stabilization of the banks.
well, planting. If there's planting
I thought you were
involved.
talking about
We're not supposed to do any disturbance, so it would just basically be replanted.
So
around the bridge.
Oh, down there, I don't know yet. Yeah, I don't know yet.
I guess I'm just thinking of the ways that we, like, how do we get on board? Do we want to get on board and support this? I think that's what.
Yeah, are you guys in support of those areas and those projects? Do you think that's a good focus?
Yep.
Is there any other kind of potential that could be tacked onto that? Like I said, we haven't really worked through the budget and all the different pieces a lot yet, because it's just now, you know.
This would definitely be the funding that we could easily put in the things that this commission wants to buy, like projector and laptop computer. It will help pay for if we want to bring in some speakers. That's how Green Space can use it. They can be part of this grant, and you can get pricing that we'll give to Stacy for.
What about Burr Oak?
For Burr Oak Festival.
Could it support that? I mean,
could it support a festival at Larson?
it's under a big tree, like it's on the creek.
I know where the Champion Burrow, because we did tree tagging. It's still around.
Why have that meeting this week? So, or this month?
It would fund, is that their 13% for educational?
10%. So yeah, thanks for reminding me. So we also talked about educational component. And so there's a 10% cap on admin for the grant, there's a 10% cap on education. And so the only educational components that I'm seeing are maybe, you know, supporting the speaker series, possibly getting the laptop or whatever equipment you guys might need, because there is an area for supplies.
Mhm.
And so you would have to tell me a little bit more about the
Yeah.
festival.
Well, it's a music event. It's got a stage. It's set under the
Mhm.
bur oak tree, which is lit. The last 2 years, we've had Stream Team go. Kids walk around and pick up trash and talk. And people can sign up for Stream Team, which works on that one block where the
Mhm.
tree is.
Mhm.
For invasives cleanup, for trash pickup. So we sign people up at that event. I mean, I don't know if that could be connected, but the idea is really just to say, look, we've got this space that's this kind of more wild space. It's not really like a, you know, it's part of the park, but it's not as like
Green.
yeah, exactly. So I
I
think the
can see
idea
that
is more like
aligning.
showcasing this like Shady Creek space.
Well, I guess what we might want to do is think amongst ourselves about projects like that.
Yeah.
And decide if that is, you know, and we don't even know what 10% would be at this
Yeah.
point, right? Like,
Well, if we go for
40,000.
400, yeah, there you go.
but you may not get that. I mean,
Yeah.
so
That's
And
what
to
we
help
ask.
Stacy understand, this is a project that has happened 2 years in a row, and this year it may or may not. So we were working together on trying to figure out how maybe we could make sure that happened again. I met with the people that put it on this last month with Ginger, just to see like, what do you need in terms of stuff to make sure that this happens again? And it really does bring people out. I mean, it's been a full house, a full hillside of people both times.
When does that?
It's like July 15th-ish is the usual. It's like that Saturday.
What do
Okay.
they need?
I'd,
Money.
Yeah.
How much?
I'd like,
Well, it cost $10,000 to put on, and they raised about 4,000 last year, and just like people like using the little QR code to make donations, but they spent that money themselves to bring in acts. We talked about reducing costs by not bringing in so many out of town.
I would like to kind of table this.
Okay, sure. Yeah,
discussion.
yeah.
I think we all probably have a lot of really good ideas like that one.
Yeah.
That we could
Yeah.
want to support. And that's part of my conversation for later or other
Yeah.
agenda item about, I want to do some planning.
Yes, I only wanted to just make
Yeah.
sure she understood like what it is.
So in terms of timing, the first one that this could possibly cover would be July of 2025 and then July of 2026. And so because you got to think about the timeline of the grant
Sure.
and thinking about, but I think that could fit. So
Something like that.
anything that you could justify water quality. So when we wrote the NOI, the notice of intent, we did include the Stream Team as a partner because obviously there will be water quality components involved. And so if there are opportunities like that little festival, which could or could not be part of this, depending on what you guys decide, I could see that being a good part because I've heard interest in like doing biological monitoring demonstrations. And so that could be added maybe to that festival or other educational opportunities where we're like getting folks to the creek and showing what kind of life exists. Instead of just doing macroinvertebrate monitoring in terms of stream health, because there'll be a whole water quality monitoring plan that would be tucked into the grant. That could be part of an educational piece if you guys find a good fit within your educational programming.
Okay.
Okay, I think we should, I mean, I think right now we could take a vote or make a motion about like giving our support to you to help with volunteer hours and identify other potential projects that we would want, but I think we could spend a lot of time kind of prioritizing and thinking about.
Brainstorm.
Yeah, brainstorming.
I would like to move that the Green Space Commission support a 319 process in any way that we can, particularly targeting the Deer Creek and Shady Creek riparian corridors, but any other additional opportunities as we see fit going forward. Would anyone like to second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion.
I think we should put a list to go, like, I think we should brainstorm out a list and get that to Stacy and Yvonne, and like, they can vet it. Like, is this stuff we're trying to do meet the constraints that are on the grant?
And so if that list could come by the end of May, I know this is fast and furious, but that's how it goes.
Okay.
So this application is due around the 1st of July, and there's a lot of pieces to put together. And so if you could come up with your educational pieces and your budget for that in terms of, and I don't need the budget, like supplies budget type thing. And
you don't need that. That's what
I do need that. I don't need like, we think it will cost, you know, the volunteer hours, stuff like that. I think I can figure all that stuff out. But if there's any solid numbers that you know of, please send those along with your list by the end of May.
Okay. And so that's basically like what things we can purchase.
Yeah.
So
we'll try.
I think I asked
put that in there
about like planning, like tools for planning or plans. Can that be part of this?
I was thinking
about
like a software.
No, I was thinking about like natural resources inventory is what I was thinking.
So like a tree inventory?
Kind of. Yes, sort of like a tree inventory.
And so you would like to do, does Webster have a public tree inventory already?
Well, I'm thinking more like natural resources.
Okay.
I've been talking with Rhonda Burnett, and she basically said that's a good first step in planning your conservation efforts.
Why don't you tell me a little bit more about that, and we can talk about it later because I don't want to chew up your time, but I would need to understand more and how this would fit in terms of the grant and in terms of water quality. So anything that goes into the grant proposal has to align with what's in the Deer Creek Watershed Management Plan, and you can figure out how to make those things align. I just have to understand it better.
Okay.
And so it may or may not, but if there is a way to, we can figure it out.
Okay.
So you're thinking like 10,000 is reasonable, or 20, or?
For what? For the educational piece?
For our educational piece. Our budget.
Let's start at 40, right? Because we're going to try and write as much as we can to the 400,000. And so if you could have it prioritized,
Green Space will do the 10%.
So the educational, Yvonne, do you see any need for the educational dollars for yourself?
Maybe staff training. So somewhere in there, but
a little chunk.
Yeah.
Okay. And so then let's just.
Well, what about like certain equipment you might need to do certain work? Or...
But that would be implementation equipment. That would go towards the 10% of the educational. So I don't know if there's a supplies cap that I'm aware of, but I do know on education, it's the 10% and admin, it's 10%. But in terms of implementation, if I need implementation tools, that wouldn't chew into that 40. So if she needs some for staff training, and we did also mention doing a brining guide possibly in that notice of intent. And
what is that?
So it doesn't exist right now. I couldn't find one online on how to convert equipment to brining. Yeah, and so that may take up a little bit. So let's leave
train public works.
Yeah. So maybe a better number would be more like 20 to 30,000. And then as we move through this, realistically, let's say 20, but go ahead and include some other things if it goes over that. That way, if we don't chew up half of the educational money or get to the 400,000, you know, there's just still a lot of, yeah. But if you do it in a form where it's prioritized, like these are the top things on the list, and the lower priority falls to the bottom.
Perfect.
Good.
Wow.
Good.
How much is design, do you think? 50 or?
Design. Probably like 20,000. Yeah, that's the quick and fast price tag I put out there. Would you agree with that or no?
I could see it being more.
You could see it being more for that small area. Yeah. I mean, I haven't.
Everything's double.
Yeah. I don't know with the current inflation. But yeah, if I were to put a rough number to it, I would start with 20, but then you'd have some move around in the implementation dollars. Yeah.
You heard about the cost to update the stormwater master plan.
We just said 40 it's 1,000.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, that includes a lot of engineering.
Yeah.
Couple months.
Okay, all right, so we made a motion and
we
seconded
discussed.
and we discussed. So now we're gonna take a vote and we're gonna support
The motion.
with, you know, our, yes, support the motion.
All in favor?
We have,
Unanimous.
okay, and then I would like us to, well, we'll talk more about planning at the end. Motion approved.
Thank you.
It's being recorded.
Okay.
Okay.
Now we're done.
Well, thank you. Something by the end of May.
Okay.
You should be able to.
I'll see you tomorrow morning.
Yeah, tomorrow morning.
Thank you, Stacy.
You're welcome. Thanks for letting me join you.
Thank you very much. Okay.
No, I do not have the chair.
Okay. But if you could do that job, that would be great.
You did great. We did
Yeah.
4 motions. And
Okay. Okay, old business. I want to make a couple of these things really quick because we got a lot of business to discuss. Arbor Day recap. I'm gonna let Yvonne give a little recap of Arbor Day.
Went great, 40 volunteers, got 500 trees in the ground.
World
We've
record.
been watering our world record for Blackburn Park. We've been watering ever since. So
500.
500. And
Very
Emily
quickly. And yes,
Emily,
to that.
yeah,
did a great job with the proclamation.
yes.
And Joe did a great job presenting the awards,
Yeah.
tree steward
And something we can talk about next year. We have plenty of time. I was thinking that to get more people to come to the actual Arbor Day event, to try to figure out how to set that up where maybe it's tied in with a speaker or something like that, because it's kind of a shame that people, I think it's just
You need like
easy
some
to
sort of
forget it.
draw.
Yeah, and then
Besides,
maybe
like what it actually is.
There's also some groups with
Yeah.
volunteer groups and then did their hour and then.
yeah, and
had to
then
go.
maybe we have our planting on a different day because it would be a lot less stressful.
Just get Doug Calvin to speak.
Yeah,
There you go.
that could be in the grant.
Wow.
It really could.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
No, that'd be
That'd be
great.
exciting.
Bring Doug, okay. Write that down, somebody.
Is that Susan Talby's son?
No, Palamy, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
I
Okay,
was here 2 years ago, so. Oh, but right.
yeah, but he could come to Webster. Okay.
There you go.
Eco and April weekend. Corin,
Yeah, we had 2 speakers that day, Stacy being one of them, the other one being Danielle Hake. Is that her name?
Yep.
Yeah. It was really mostly Joe's show, but I introduced it and it went fine. We had about 30 people attend, which was good. We were happy with that. There were some good questions from the crowd, which the speakers I thought also handled well.
They did good.
Yeah. And there was a lot of chat afterward. We had people stayed and talked a long time afterward who were
To the
interested in the topic,
speakers
to the
or just-
speakers and to each other.
Okay,
Overall, I feel like it went really well and the speakers seemed happy too. So
cool.
I think it was a total success.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, and Joe did a good job introducing that.
Yes, both of you did a really good job.
Thank you, guys. All right, the next item of business is the May 18th event. So we had a change of date
Oh.
because our speaker,
Somehow, I don't know. I asked him back in January before May 25th was ever raised.
so.
Because it was the third.
Yeah. He's agreed to do it on the 18th though, and we were able to get the pavilion. So it's just a little
kind of back to
adjustment.
where we started back.
Yeah,
I'm in town the 18th, so.
so you'll miss it.
No,
But
yeah,
if it's
no
in
question.
Madison, you don't need me for the AV tech.
Yeah.
You'll have some.
It'll be all on me.
Okay, so we've got that
Needle whipped.
AV tech. I will be there so I can bring my laptop.
Okay. He's bringing his, but
Oh,
he's been there
Connection.
many times with these sync up thing, because
Yeah.
like it's not half the time it doesn't work.
yeah.
There won't be any Wi-Fi. It's gonna be.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This is an HDMI.
Yeah.
plug-in. So just like the library, just let them know it's an
Yeah.
HDMI into his computer. But you should be here just in case.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to mention, Jerry saved the day with our connections because we were struggling.
He was the real MVP, I think.
Okay.
It was,
Wasn't just me.
no, it was
So
much
we-
smoother with Jerry there.
We
The next one is definitely on the 18th.
definitely on the 18th at Larson Park, we have a
Flyers out.
flyer that we just sent to everybody. Emily, did you get a copy of that too? I think I copied you on that.
Today? I don't know if I saw.
No, it was yesterday or the day before.
Yeah, maybe.
Jen finished it for us
Right.
and all, we had
And
the
I've
correct date and
it's going in
everything
the
on there.
paper, and I'm sending it to Chris. He's the professor at WashU's now emeritus. He's every time it's well.
Yes, I do have it. I was thinking that was the old one, but yeah, I have the right one.
Okay, good. So we're getting that out. Jen said she's gonna send it to Greenkeepers. Post it that way. So if you guys can think of anyone else to send that out to. So you said you've
It's
gotten
gonna go
it.
to the paper
Okay,
for the week ahead,
okay.
and if we can get it in the Friday page before.
Yeah, I love doing a
Okay.
little piece in the Friday page
Mhm.
about
good.
Yeah.
to encourage like
I mean, what
future changes. As they
consistency now with,
How long has it been going?
with.
Harry, that got a shout out at council last night too.
About,
On your write up in the Friday page.
oh,
They've gotten
okay.
comments from people about how helpful that was to know what to do after. So it's really great.
That is great.
good. I skipped an item.
I've heard people
So-
say like, I don't want to mow my front yard anymore.
Yeah,
But like they were talking about gardening, it's
we're
good.
starting to see the wood sorrel now blooming, and it's been fantastic.
It's way more shaggy yards, even now that it's over, they're still shaggy.
I'm going for the longest yard until I get a citation.
I've seen people that have mowed around things,
Contact.
just like left things but mowed, but like left the things
Yeah.
that were blooming that they probably didn't even know they had.
They can
Nice.
bring the goats to my house.
Yeah.
And earn me money back.
Yeah.
So we'll go back to normal stuff. We were jumping on my agenda. Sorry, I jumped on my agenda. So if we're talking about no mode, Jen is taking, if you talk to anyone and they want to know what to do with their sign, they can keep it till next year and reuse it, or they can bring it back to City Hall, but then they'll have to register for a sign again next year.
And someone did ask if we could have a contest next year.
Mhm, I
we
heard
asked
that.
Most unruly yards.
Pictures.
If you do have any good pictures, send them to me, because I want to put together a kind of a report card like we did for the Green Our City last year and produce something that we could hand out and talk about the success. So I would love pictures.
Yeah, we could do a cute like
Really?
top 5 most.
Yeah, like how cool your yard looked.
Okay.
Okay, so
With my grandson like it over his head.
Just let it ride till next year, Jerry. Let
Mhm.
it ride till next year.
and Corin and I talked to Jean Ponzi. She wanted to interview the group about the successes and drawbacks, challenges. So we did that yesterday.
Yeah.
There should be something in the Ledoux news about it.
Yeah.
And
What group?
What?
Missouri Botanical Garden, what group was she with specifically?
Earthways.
Earthways Center, yeah.
But it's gonna be on Mobot blog.
Yeah.
What she said. And then
She was very supportive too.
she also suggested us putting together a kind of our take on a how to, like, how did it work for us so that we could give it to people like the woman from Chesterfield that reached out to you. So I think maybe after you're done with grading, heck,
Well, I think
you and I could work on that.
Jen could put it on the
That'd be
website and put it, have a drop down tab, or people, we could just say, go to the city's website and it'll show you our process. Which could, most of it's on there, isn't it?
I mean, Jean had some really good suggestions, so I think a little more documentation might be nice.
Apparently Webster's cutting edge. There's a lot of excitement across the greater St. Louis area about.
Well, Olivet wanted to know,
Yeah.
usually Olivet beats us to
Yeah.
burning, and so that made me happy.
Okay,
But yes, Carrie, I'll work on that with you.
okay,
Grading finishes May 18th.
okay.
I'll see you then.
So back to the May 18th event. Linda, is there anything else you need from us or Yvonne for that day at the park?
Just remind, I think we need a blast before the speaking night that goes out to Greenkeepers again, because we didn't do that tonight.
Yeah.
And I think that extra reminder, because people are just
And even
so,
the day of or the day before on Facebook or whatever.
people are just so busy, right?
Totally.
This time of year.
Would you want to email us all
Oh,
the day before, and then you can remind us to do that, and then I can make sure that I remind Jen to, well, actually,
Yeah.
I'll ask her to post it the week before on the Friday page.
One of us almost always does some social media stuff too. Either Ginger or Liz or Joe or me have done it the last few months. So
I'm sure it helps with that generation, because we're getting millennials.
We're getting a few.
Starting to come, sure.
Although they brought questions.
Friday.
Some of them brought some- had an agenda.
Just as a,
Tell me about that sidewalk that hasn't been designed yet.
we didn't get to talk about it on the, maybe this is further down, I don't know.
What?
We're supposed to have a subcommittee meeting with sustainability. And I haven't heard anything, because we can't do anything. Emily wants us to talk on sustainability about our plan that we've hatched
Or
for about pollution and getting into the city. And she wants us to stop, which is true, and meet with them. But I thought we were going to have, another with Jamie.
Yeah.
It was just horrifically busy.
Yeah,
All the
and
time.
I think we've all been pretty busy.
Yeah. So we
too.
just, because Jake Roniker, we got a nice write-up.
I saw that.
Published in the
That's
paper.
great.
He's going to be home he'll be in town. And he was saying that he could come up with a Forever Webster kind of statement for us.
Okay.
And we tried, and
Regarding
the Forever Webster's.
yeah. Regarding the lighting. The
Yeah, well,
dark
she
sky.
got, a mention, but nothing more. But Emily suggested that we come up with a masthead proclaiming what we intend to do.
Okay, well, I guess that does kind of fall in line then with the
We get down further into.
to the commission strategies and priorities plan. Okay, so the next item of old business is the June 22nd event. We've got a flyer for that, and I'm currently just trying to get people invited to that. If you've got anyone you want to send that to, I had this at the last meeting, and I can send it around again. I would like to talk about some of the people that you mentioned, from other adjacent communities.
Sure.
But I'm meeting tomorrow with Stacy Arnold to talk about who in our region leadership wise would be good to make sure we have it at that event. So that's what that was about. And Emily, when do you think I should remind council about that, or when could you remind council about the June 22nd event?
Because
What's the best way to do that?
you sent that a couple weeks ago, didn't you?
Well, I went to council a couple weeks ago, yeah.
And I think you followed up with like a formal email.
Yes,
I
right
remember.
after
Yeah.
that. Thanks for letting me be here.
I can forward it to them again now and just see if it's on their calendars.
I think that would be,
You want me to do that as like the next level of reminderness?
yeah, do you think that's appropriate? I don't want to overdo it, but
Yeah, I think
just-
that's fine.
okay. And I also had emailed that originally to the staff, a few staff members as well, like Todd and Mara and Dr. Peoples and Yvonne and anyone else, I guess you think that I forgot and should have invited. Vera. That's good. Okay, I would really appreciate that.
So I'll send the reminder to council members, and probably like, Dr. Peoples and Eric, like the ones that are normally on our emails.
Okay.
For the other staff, I don't know, Yvonne, if you want to remind other staff that you think would be good to go there.
I think they'd all be interested or.
Well, I guess I'm just mostly concerned about council. So if you would do that, that
I'll
would
do
be great.
council. Yeah, I'll do council.
Okay.
And Scott, of course.
Okay. I can do staff. All right. I don't think there's anything else about that. I'll have another update on that next month for you guys. The next item of old business is the Green Our City initiative. I know Joe's been doing a little work on that. Contacted the supplier of the trees and is working on that. And Joe and I actually went out last weekend and looked at all of the trees from last year. And they all look really good, except one looks really dead. But we know from witnessing it, that person did not water the tree as directed. So that's a bummer, but that's pretty good. 1 out of 14.
Is there already a link to sign up for that?
There is a link to sign up for that. You guys passed one of those around to everybody. And I want to start getting the word out about that a little more. How do you think I should do that? What's the best way to do
I can
that?
social media it.
That would be great.
Do we have this as a
I need
file?
a PDF file. I need to get one.
So are we targeting an area?
No.
This is all city.
If you do that,
Got it.
I will blast it.
Yeah, that was on my list to do today and I just didn't have time. So I will send a PDF out to
There's a
this
deadline
group.
on there. Or,
Oh, you know what? There's not a deadline on there.
well,
I can put it on the new flyer though, that I'm gonna send.
yeah, does it kind of build up that figuring this out?
Yeah, I think I read June 30th. Was that the deadline?
No, the
Does that-
deadline is like May
May
30th.
31st.
Something like that.
Okay.
If you go to the so the website's active, you can actually apply right now. And it says the deadline on there, and I think it's May the 30th or 31st.
Yeah, and you put it on the Friday page, I would say would be good.
Okay,
Yeah, I have a lot of this. Maybe I'll just
And
attach the link.
just as a reminder, I think I talked about this at another meeting, but it's not area specific. It's open to anyone. We're gonna have hopefully 40 trees to plant because the city is gonna pre-dig holes, Public Works is gonna pre-dig holes. So Joe and I figured that with the same number of volunteers we had last time, we could probably plant 40 trees if the holes were pre-dug. And hopefully we'll get more volunteers.
And it's all just in city right of way, right?
All in city right of way. So I'm guessing we're gonna have people ask for a tree and it's gonna be not in city right of way, but the Public Works is gonna go vet all the sites that are applied for, so.
Okay.
And then we'll land on 40 sites. Cool. Anything else, Joe?
You have the mandatory meeting for the
Yeah,
homeowners.
We do have a mandatory meeting set up. That's on the website as well. That's July 15th.
It's a Saturday morning.
Yes, it's Saturday morning. Should we have that at 9 or 10?
10.
10, okay. 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
And we've got Mark Gruber from MDC and
Billy
Haig from Forest Relief kind of repeating their role that they did last year, the educational pieces for that. So we just need to get someone to record it so that if people can't make it to that, they could watch the recording of that and then
July
sign 15th. And
you said,
AM.
oh, I'm in June. I'm like, you said that's so sad. Got it. Thank you.
And then planting day, that's another important day to remind you guys of, is October 7th, which is a Saturday. And that should be in our minutes previously as well. But maybe you could put some dates in the minutes for sure. July 15th, educational seminar. The webpage is active live taking application. And planting day is October 7th.
Person at Arbor Day, she asked me if she said, is it too late to sign up? And I said, no,
We're just starting. Yeah.
You got plenty, you've got time.
Do you, I guess, do you want an extra one of these to hang up at the library, Linda? Or an extra 2, because then you could do front and back.
Yeah, that would be good.
I'd take a couple extras.
These are the door hangers from last year that I cut.
Oh, that's smart.
So 10 o'clock.
This in Schnars.
10 o'clock at Larson Park. Do we have the, I thought you said we had the pavilion already.
I'm pretty sure we did.
Okay. And Joe has been very helpful in planning this. So thank you, Joe. I'm excited about planting all these trees, making Webster greener.
Yeah, great.
Okay, the next item of old business is the 4th of July parade. Yvonne said, put that back on there.
Just because we have to decide and then it doesn't mean we have to do. Well, I typically have to drive council.
You do?
Well, I mean, I don't have to. I can find somebody to do
Well,
that.
if Corin and I can drive the parks vehicles, then we don't need you to drive.
Okay. And then, yeah, you can just come to the shop and decorate a little bit and zigzag around.
Okay, so we're gonna have 2 vehicles. 2 little parks, electric vehicles, right? They're electric. Corin and I will be driving. Anyone else that wants to ride along is welcome. If we have 2 people riding shotgun and more people want to participate, they're gonna walk. And
can kids do it?
They can walk, sure.
Do you have to have wheel walkers for those?
What?
Do you have to have
Wheel
wheel
walkers?
walkers for those?
I don't know.
Are they golf cart size?
Mhm.
The city would know.
Yeah. I mean, typically, if you have
Well,
wheel,
you just have
walkers.
if you have a car in it though, do you have to have wheel walkers for a car?
Those are.
Emily, do you know?
We'll find out.
I don't know. I know you have to have wheel walkers, but I don't know the, situations for when you do and when you, what. doesn't
Who would
qualify.
know that? How can we find out?
I think, would Scott know?
If you go on the website, you can sign up
Okay,
and then it will tell you what,
okay, so I need to go do that for us.
if you're gonna
Is there
do
a
it.
fee
Are we gonna hand
register?
anything out?
I have no
it sounds like it'd be
idea.
Fun if we could do that, but it's also
We
July, like,
are
what
gonna
can you
give-
plans.
No, we're gonna
I don't know.
give out information about Leave the Leaves.
Okay.
which nothing has been done for that yet, but we're gonna.
Oh, they're gonna
And
have a pet
pollinator
parade.
patrol. We could give information out about pollinator patrol.
There's
So
a pet
that's
parade,
always
too.
happening.
What do you say, Emily?
Oh, there's a pet parade also on Monday.
Oh,
How long is that? Like
Here,
an
let's see if I can share
eighth of a mile.
Share it. So here's the city website for community days.
Okay.
oh, wow.
And then there's a pet parade on Monday, the 3rd. That's pretty fun. And then on the 4th, Telly Tire is sponsoring, and then there's this link to do the application.
And
And
that's actually on the 4th,
yes,
the actual 4th.
There it talks
Here we
about
go.
wheel walkers.
yeah.
What does it say?
So it talks about vans and larger trucks.
We are a small truck.
Yeah, I don't think you need
No.
one.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Looking at this, it doesn't look like we could look. You could reach out to Scott Davis with
Okay.
questions. But according to this, it
Register.
doesn't look like you would need that for cars or like, you know, the little golf cart size
Okay.
thing.
And maybe if it is just me and you, we could just take one vehicle and then I can hand things out and we can switch.
That sounds fine.
Okay.
We could take 2 and do the Shriners.
Well, I was thinking about that, wouldn't be cool, but.
We're gonna hate each other. I can see this happening.
No, that's not.
It's not your vehicle.
Should try a cause though.
It would.
It's for the cost.
Okay, so that's a decision made. Okay, so.
Good thing you put it on the agenda.
Okay.
We've only been there for 2
Well, we
years.
just need to decide.
It would be more fun if you were driving with us, but.
Well, I
you
could
feel-
see if I can get staff to drive council. And then I'll drive a truck, and then if somebody wants to sit in the truck.
I think we
then
need
we'll need
people
wheel
in V
walkers.
costumes.
Oh, well, I thought you would drive one of the little vehicles.
No,
Usually,
you guys
Trees, bees.
if we get our new
One tree,
one,
one bee.
which I don't know if we'll
I
get
do
a
have
new one,
tickets.
because Scott usually uses
They're
our
very-
extra one
Okay,
for logistics.
okay, but we'll
really
have to
convinced.
for us.
Okay.
Of dressing in costumes.
Okay, so anyone that wants to participate in either the actual day or figuring out how to decorate these vehicles, let me know.
Decorating.
And Carrie, there are 2 safety meetings and you have to go to at least one of them.
Yeah,
So
I am
June
aware of that.
24th and June 29 are the dates.
okay, I will register for us soon and then I think you have to register.
Yeah, you have to register online. Application deadline is June 16th.
Okay,
I think I'm free on both those days, Carrie, I assume we both have to go.
I wouldn't think so. I think you just need one member to
Oh.
go.
Yeah, all units must be
Talking about it in
represented by
June.
at least one person at one of the mandatory safety meetings.
Okay,
Okay.
And they're at the Masonic Lodge next door to City Hall.
okay, thank you, Emily.
Yep.
Okay. Then we go on to new business. And we sort of covered item A already while we were waiting for Stacy. So everybody read that if you haven't, read the document if you haven't, so that you know what your term limit is. And then you can look at the last roster we got from Katie, which I sent out when she sent it to me, that had your date on it. Okay.
I don't think I got that. I think I'm not getting some of these emails.
Well, it only would have been the very first one. Like Katie, when you came on, we updated the roster and sent it out.
Okay. So it was
I remember
not
getting
recent-
that.
Not recent.
No,
Okay,
not
okay.
recently.
Got it.
Yeah, it's this one.
Okay, so item B of new business is strategic planning prioritization for us, for our efforts and our goals. And I sent that around in the email. I wanted you guys to look at the sustainability plan and kind of see how we align with what's in there, and if there's anything more specific we want to add, or things we see as missing. But I think the first step I'd like to do, and maybe we could do that tonight, is list out what we're already doing. Like what are the things we're already investing our time in, and sort of prioritize those for us.
What are we doing?
Okay, so we are doing the mayor's monarch pledge and the pollinator patrol initiative work. So that's basically things related to pollinators in green spaces, which is kind of like promoting native plants, education, pollinators. I would say that NOMO sort of fits into that, right?
Yeah, totally.
So NOMO is part of that.
That's one of our action items. Here's monarch pledge.
So that seems like one sort of thing. Native plant habitat restoration is a priority. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Trees have always been a priority as long as I've been on here. We've recognized trees of distinction and stewards. We've always planted trees in the parks. Whenever Yvonne needs trees planted, we try and plant trees. Oh, the other thing that would fall in line with the habitat and native stuff is what we've talked about is leave the leaf. Okay, so back to trees.
Wait, that's with pollinators? Leave the leaves.
Well, I wouldn't say it's just pollinators. I'd say it's like
it's
habitat.
Right. Soil amendments, I mean, fertilizer.
So also with trees then.
Well,
two topics we touched on.
Two topics we touched on, I think, are like habitat, native plant ecology, trees, anything related to trees.
Okay.
Which I think, Green Our City is part of that. All of the Arbor Day stuff we do, the city Arbor Day, what's our certification? Tree City USA stuff that we do. What else related to trees?
Well, I mean, the whole light awareness thing kind of touches on all of this in a way. And they've got only mentioned lighting once or twice, but it's changed the street lights to LEDs, but it's not that simple. So, I mean, it's.
Well, let's talk about things that we've done as a group so far. We've
Eco Ed Talk.
Eco Ed Talk, education, that's a huge part of what we do.
Invasive removals.
Invasive removals.
Did you say
that goes to habitat?
Well, we kind of like NOMO as part of habitat, I think.
So what's this category
invasive.
called?
I don't know.
Invasive and.
Well, could that be part of the habitat and
Yeah,
native
like
plant ecology?
Yeah.
I mean,
yes,
under that umbrella.
Biodiversity.
that, biodiversity.
That's all of them.
So, and I guess that's the overarching thing, really. Biodiversity. Because all of the stuff is related to biodiversity, but what about stormwater? We've focused on stormwater, right? With some presentations, with the work we've done on working with the Sustainability Commission.
This is one of the other big pushes we've done in the last year is, we wanted to convince the city to develop a plan after the flooding, and then they found that they had a plan. So we're like, okay, actually, that's great. Let's update that plan, because if we don't do that, they're not going to be able to manage future stormwater events. So green space can help with that, because green space absorbs water and all that other stuff.
Right.
And it's a good overlap with sustainability.
And all the dream team stuff
Yeah.
that we've done as part of Make a Difference Day.
Right.
I think falls in line with that.
And that ties in with the riparian corridor stuff that Stacey Arnold's talking about.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
So that's one of our other big things, I guess.
And we've started, I think, in that educational piece, going back to what you said, Linda, about thinking about the light pollution.
Yeah, that's just another, it fits with this.
Right.
It's just a matter of, it's a new kind of definition. And it really is just a matter of just talking to people, because the city council would make that. And ongoing education, I think one of the best things we've done is this series of talks.
I do too.
Taking off. People seem to like them.
And I mean, that's been going on for quite a while. Before me, you guys were doing that, right? The educational series.
It was more occasional. It
was like 4 times a year. Didn't you do it?
Something like that.
Yeah. And partnering, I think, now that we're partnering with the sustainability committee, I feel like that's pretty important. Obviously, we can get more done when we partner with people.
They are so friendly.
They are so sustainability. Yeah. Jamie.
What about the Green Space Advisory Commission?
Here they
You're helpful. So I see those maybe not necessarily like priority 1, 2, or 3, but that's definitely what we've made our priorities over the past, well, as long as I've been here, a couple of years. Is there anything else that we think we should add to that priority list that we're not working on? I mean, that is green space focused.
There's a lot going here with like little sub elements to all of them. I mean, others may have things to add, but I feel very comfortable.
It's a lot of moving parts. As one person said to me after the last talk, oh, it's all connected.
Yeah, it is.
And that's
like life.
Yeah.
There are times where you're like, are we burning ourselves out, or didn't you? Like, I think we definitely are in a good space for like having plenty to do.
And some of these things we just started this year. So I think as time goes on, it's going to be more manageable because we'll have to.
Joe, any thoughts? Very quiet over there.
No, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Think about how much it is.
Then are there, Bill, since you're the longest running member of the Green Space Commission, walking.
Sitting.
Are there things that you guys or have on that this commission used to do that you don't do anymore?
Is it what?
That you used to do as a commission.
This group is much more active than any previous group I was with.
They had a contest for Arbor Day, and I think that's something we should try to bring back.
What kind of contest?
It was
poetry and posters.
Yeah, and it was good, and it brought people up, and that's why I was thinking with the Baroque. People collect festival posters and T-shirts, and if we put it out there, does it see if you're
I brought it up to Margot and Walter, and
you could sell T-shirts, and you could sell posters, and you could number them.
Well, we talked about it as a possibility for potential fundraising too, just because money seems to be the main prohibitive element.
So for Arbor Day, you could have a contest of it's your interpretation of the Baroque Festival along.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's cute.
And then somebody could draw a cool T-shirt, and you could get, whoever wins on Arbor Day, then that becomes the T-shirt for the festival.
I love it. And it goes to arts, like that could have the Arts Commission and connect a lot of.
Where does the right now the Baroque Festival is like, it's run by just a small number of people who've put in their own money and
didn't it?
Well, it's really Margot. It's a couple, and they have a lot of experience putting on events, and they have previously, last year they put it together really quick. First year it was like a big planned out thing. And so Ginger and I met with them last week or the week before, and we were just like, what? Because we heard it may not be happening, and they told me directly, like, we're not sure we're going to do it again. And I think money was just really the main, I mean, they're very busy too. Margot's working full time now. But we talked about the idea of like maybe coming up with funding from the city somehow, like either from commissions or, you know, some partial funding or some contribution to help cut the cost for them, focusing more on local artists so that they're not flying people in and trying to do, you know, but the main cost is like the stage and the lighting setup. I said, what if we get it donated? And Walter kind of said, you know, if you don't know the equipment that you're getting, it's really, they just need money to get what they know how to set up, they know how to manage, they know how to operate. So they don't want somebody's like supposed PA from their, you know, whatever. They want it like to be.
If we could limp it through for this year, then we could maybe get the funding from the 319 if we tie it into educational piece.
But that would be 2 years from now, right?
So we need
How maybe Emily, you could weigh in on this, like I live in that neighborhood, so I really enjoyed walking down and hearing that music. I didn't even have to get in the crowd. I just experienced it on the side. How was it received generally by this neighborhood, by the city, by the parks department?
I mean, Liz and I both live on that street, and it was very well received by all the neighbors on the street. I didn't hear any complaints. I mean, everybody was super nice, lovely having people walk down the street to the park. It was talked about in council meetings. I mean, I have only heard really good comments and reports from all sorts of people about it.
I think what's cool about it is the uniqueness of the environment, which is totally tied to like what we like about it, because it's promoting this space that really isn't, it's not designed for anything about entertaining or, you know, it's just coming into this space and like enjoying it the way it is and making it, you know.
So part of their, I guess I don't know really how it got started. I mean, I know the first time was a couple of years ago and they wanted to, I guess, bring people to the park.
They wanted
show
to
off the park
showcase this natural space. And if you listen on NPR, they even had one of the violinists come and play with like the outdoor sounds like with her. So it was really about marrying the idea of music and being outdoors and like creating an artistic experience that was about both elements. So again, really ties to like the kinds of things that we're promoting.
Was the music Baroque? Did they do some Baroque?
They did in the first year, and then last year it was the Roots Baroque. So they tried to kind of change up the theme, so that, and I think that was a little bit more relatable last year. But
sure.
Either way, people just like the idea of getting outside it, you know, even if they didn't connect or it was something new, and that's always a good thing too, like an exposure to something new. But
the weather was so nice. Both
really
really. I just would sit and like look up at the bats flying through the trees. It was lovely.
Eating 1,000 mosquitoes per hour.
We're doing this year.
Yeah. Well, I ate cookies that neighbor kids sold.
So you don't feel like it's okay. No, we just
I'm seeing them more. I mean,
so for us, that really ties into like an educational component.
Totally.
Right. I mean,
well, and we had Stream Team at least the first year, like come around and pick up trash, and we had a sign up and an explanation of what it is. And we did get a lot of new members. So it was a way to sort of talk about like, here's something that happens also in this space, which is like a stewardship of the area. So that tied in well as well. They did also say they needed volunteers. Money and volunteers are the two limitations for whether or not this happens again, basically.
Okay. And they're not really raising funds for anything other than to put on the production.
Right. And currently,
to keep the production going.
Right. And currently they're doing nothing because they're not sure it's going to happen. And kind of, we had this meeting for like, what can we do? So I guess I'm bringing this to us now, because if we keep waiting, I don't know what, you know, if we talk about it next month, it's probably too late. Emily, I mean, I don't know if you can think of any ways for monetary access, but they didn't even raise half the money for the cost of the full event last year. So I think the biggest issues are the stage and the sound.
I mean, so one of the things I have on my update is to talk about the sponsored event policy. So that just got updated for the city, and I'll get a copy from Katie of the final resolution. I couldn't find it on the website to send to you all, but basically it allows each commission to officially sponsor up to 2 events per year. Now, these aren't like eco-ed events. These are like Baroque events, you know, where you're closing streets and that type of thing. So up to 2 a year, and that waives some of the costs, barricades and, you know, things like that, permitting. And there are some things that can be waived and some things that can't, depending on, you know, what kind of a cost it is. So I want to get that to you so you can have that. But I don't see a way to have like a budget line, like to help monetarily with it from the city, but there are some costs of putting on an event that could probably be waived if this was a officially green space sponsored event.
I wonder if we could get another partner. Like, is it something Forest Relief would wanna? And I'm only looking at you because. No, but we're not in their like priority area.
No.
Their priority focus area.
I mean, you can ask.
It'd be Great Rivers Greenway. They're
Yeah, but we're not near their green. They're also focusing in different areas.
but they're going to.
Yeah, eventually.
It's only a couple months off. Yeah, so.
Yeah, it's kind of a tight timeline. I just feel like if we lose momentum by not having it this year, it's probably kind of dead. So maybe just like a privately supported thing that could somehow come together. But
Wonder if Jenny could put something on the Friday page with the QR code and start asking for donations
Yeah.
sooner. Like a GoFundMe kind of thing.
I'd have to talk to them because I'm just worried that if it wasn't enough, then they're stuck with kind of like, you've got donations, so you're doing it. It's like they're committing without knowing
And the
what
time
we get.
that they need to
Yeah.
do. I mean, the
So what do
time,
they need? 5? Like,
I think 5 would probably be enough to say like, okay, we can probably move ahead and hope that with additional donations, we definitely can cover the stage and the lighting and some local acts. 5 sounds right for like.
Do you see this, do you see this fee schedule on the?
I think so.
screen?
Yes.
yeah, we see it.
Okay.
We got
So
it.
this is just kind of show you like what can be excluded. So like no parking signs can be excluded, trash can drop off and pick up can be excluded. We like the liners and the like this in staff costs that doesn't get excluded, but I don't know how much that actually would be. And then police costs can be excluded if we needed help with that. I don't know if they've used that in the past. So you know, that might help maybe
The
reduce
costs
some
for-
of their city related costs is where that would maybe help out.
Thanks, Emily.
Yeah.
I tried the Regional Arts Commission.
Yeah, or like Webster University Music Department.
Well, I was thinking about that too. I mean, that would be something that.
I guess the city's got the Jazz Fest, right? That's where they're like all into.
And opera
music.
theaters.
Well, I know one year they just talked about making their own stage with pallets.
Walter and Mario did.
Yeah, and somewhere I think the city has like a stage. I don't know how good it is, but
And kind of keep it simple so it doesn't get to be
yeah,
too much of a
that's a big expense.
like, extra sound. I mean, the fact that it's simple and is what it is appealing
Right.
rather than the.
Yeah, let me know. I mean, that would be a
Events
huge one.
and
If we
Forest
cut
Park.
half of it out, they might feel more confident going into like a donation idea. But, you know, I just hate for them to get set up to go forward and then we get like a little bit, but it's like not close to what they need it to be. I don't want them committed to that cost. So.
Yeah.
But cutting out half of it would be huge.
But could you do like pledges?
Do what?
Pledges.
Oh, that's
Have
yeah.
people pledge. Like I would get $50.
Like I will donate if it happens. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good idea. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Well, I need to
Jenny
get the thread going with them. So
Pledge.
about financing that could be put on the
Mhm.
city's Facebook, your website, or
Mhm.
Friday page,
mm,
or the Webster Harbor Time.
That way they could see how much they would get.
mm.
And you could even do that really quickly before the drop dead of when they have to have the money. Or to know they're gonna get the money.
Collecting.
Pledge to volunteer, pledge to
I
donate.
wonder if I could do it.
Yeah.
Actually, but I could get a donor and do like the matching GoFundMe.
Yeah.
So that usually motivates people. It's like, if you know your $50 is really $100.
So in order to get the waived cost from the city, would it be helpful for green space to say we endorse this event? Like, is that desirable?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we could do, that's what we could do as a minimum, right?
Do we want to do a motion then? I motion to endorse this event. How about that?
Okay. I second.
You were the
Have
green
it
space.
scheduled for July.
For me, I personally, yeah, Cora endorses this. The Green Space Commission.
And Yvonne, I
Thank you,
think
Kara.
there's a an approval step that you'll need to do as the staff liaison, so I'll send you that language.
Okay.
And I second.
I second.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah,
Linda did
I
too.
will second it.
I
Yeah.
third.
Well, second.
We only need a second. Okay,
Any
discussion?
The only thing I would say is maybe, you might be able to get some funding from the Deer Creek Watershed Alliance, or maybe funding from Stream Team.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'll talk to Brian.
What about Earthways? Gene Fonzie?
We could maybe promote this after Chris's.
Should I ask her?
Yeah, we can promote it at the.
Because it's right there, the quickest.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
Stream
wanna
team,
email
Earthways.
James.
I'm sorry, what was the third suggestion?
That's Earthways.
There was one in between. Stream
Stream
team.
team.
Great River Screen, right?
No, that was.
Deer Creek
And then
Watershed.
just-
Deer
oh,
Creek
Deer Creek
Watershed,
Water-
yeah.
Yeah. okay.
Yeah, and
Good.
the River to Pear.
Watershed Coalition.
Watershed Coalition too.
I can ask Stacy tomorrow.
Would you?
Yeah, when I meet with her.
Okay. That'd be great.
If all these groups just doing a little, that'd be.
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, that would be like
Yeah.
a nice little chunk, and then
Right.
Renee James. Okay, cool.
I'll ask Stacy. Do you want to ask Jean?
Yes.
And I'll ask Brian. We're just gonna say random first names.
Not the handwriting on the wall, but the handwriting on the hand.
I'm gonna forget otherwise.
Okay, so we're gonna.
Wait, what day is this event? So I know what to say.
Around July 15th-ish.
Okay.
And
So
maybe
the same day
those
as the, same day as
Oh.
possibly of the training.
Tell them to try and have it a different day.
The training?
Well,
In
that's
the morning?
That's in the morning,
Yeah,
right?
well, I guess.
This is like at
The training.
5
for-
or 6 o'clock at night or 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
So go train for your tree and then
Green
go
or
sit
city
under
golf.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
Using
what,
golf as
like,
an
we can't volunteer in the morning and then volunteer at night, but you don't need all of our help. That's
Yeah.
about, they've got their own crew. of
I'll volunteer at
volunteers.
night.
I'll just stay at Larson all day.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sleep there. It's fine.
Get a permit to sleep in the park.
They have camping. They have camping
Or you guys can camp in my backyard. It's very close.
Okay.
You'll find me in your backyard. I'm like, oh, Cora.
No, I think we,
Okay.
oh, yes, we do. We had the discussion and now we were going to vote.
Yeah.
To sponsor this event in order to waive some fees.
So much for scaling.
Right. That didn't really, we didn't really just add anything there.
co-opting the arts. I mean, I like the idea of that poster.
Yeah.
You know, especially, I just was touched by how many No Mo April signs I saw.
Yeah.
That were written by children because they couldn't.
Oh, did you take any pictures?
You saw multiple?
No po for bees, please, was the best.
Did you take
one.
any pictures?
I just, well, it was done in crayon, so.
It's right up there.
So-
There was a gorgeous
really
hand
neat.
find close to Hickson. Somebody had hand painted a no-mo on both
Right.
sides because I guess they couldn't get one. It was really good. I think I did take a picture of it.
I saw a sign that got crossed out and it said one mo. I was like, one mo's fine.
Yeah. Thank you. Next year we'll have a sign contest.
Make your own no mo
Now
sign.
that the city would probably be on board with, because that would save some money.
We'd have.
Those
to-
are beautiful signs.
Well, then we could take.
I mean, they
this-
really stood out. I thought,
It was good.
they're really recognizable. I think it was a
If we
good,
just
you know,
add
happy.
something else.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say. Yeah, I didn't say that. We didn't vote on that yet.
On what?
On what?
Have a sign contest.
Yeah, that till January. so-
Yeah, okay, so we voted, everyone said yes.
Motion
So-
approved.
Yep.
Motion.
That's fine.
Good job, Chair.
Yeah.
There were a lot of
That could
motions.
be our commission record.
Our commotion record.
Commotion record.
Commission motion record.
This will also be the longest meeting we've ever had.
Maybe, yeah. Close.
Yeah.
So the strategies and priorities. I'm gonna just put together a letter. Or a document that's sort of based on the minutes that we're taking. And maybe outline a strategic plan or framework or whatever for us to kind of use as a guide. And then we can, I'll just bring that to the next meeting and we can kind of, I'd like to kind of formalize that and have it as some guiding principles for us. Cool. And then on a sort of related to that, the city is trying to, this is related to stormwater. I guess this is another new business thing. The city is deciding right now whether or not to spend $150,000 on the update of the stormwater master plan. And does that include, so the Sustainability Commission has taken some funds they have been given by the city, and they're saying they want to use that for updating the master plan. So is the total 170 for the master plan?
No, the total is 150.
Okay.
And sustainability has said that they would like to use 25 of the funds that we set up, the American Rescue Plan funds that we'd set aside for sustainability. 25 of that was 100 originally, 25 of that to go towards the 150.
So I think you guys are in the process right now of, I guess, deciding whether to commit the money, the rest of the money.
Yeah, I think, and council would just like to know from Green Space, is this the priority? Like, are you recommending to council that the city spend, $125,000 on this updated stormwater plan? There was just like a side note that we do have the old plan that has not been was never fully implemented. Like pieces of it were taken out to use, but never fully. Is there any value in trying to implement more of that before we do a new plan? I think that the cost of 150 is much higher than we anticipated, than most people anticipated. And so that's why they're kind of coming back and saying, okay, now that we know the cost, is this what you're recommending that the city spend budget on?
And when you brought this up to me at the Arbor Day thing, you mentioned that the funds that they might be using or that they could use, the city could use, would also be federal funds.
We could use federal funds. We could use regular city funds. It could go in the fiscal year that we're in right now. It could go in next fiscal year. So we can kind of figure out which bucket and which year makes the most sense if it's the recommendation from the commission that we do move forward.
So, and would you like to have something written from us? Is that what?
No, I mean, you can just tell me, I think Mayor Arnold just wants to kind of just wanted to do a check-in since we have the price tag and we kind of know where we are. Is this still what we want to do? Is this what we want to do?
Yeah, well, I guess I'll open this up to discussion then.
I'd like to hear from the subcommittee people first. Like, what do you guys think?
Should I go ahead?
Yeah.
In terms of all of our green space goals, this is the only one that has immediate human health impacts and value to the city impacts. So my take is this probably is a priority. There's nothing wrong with the old plan per se, but its approach is older and outdated now. When we talk to the water experts, they're like, this is not how things are done anymore. Updating it will give the city a big advantage in dealing with flooding in the future. Paying this money now is going to reduce costs later. There's going to be fewer homes flooded in the future. Remember all the problems we had last year. So I think everything we're doing is important, but in terms of impacts to city budget and impacts to human health and well-being, this is the number one. So that's my spin coming from our subcommission meetings.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that in talking to Stacy and who was the other gentleman that came from the East West Gateway? Wilson. David Wilson. You know, they both said that basically updating this master plan would allow the city to go after extra grant money. I mean, I think they see it as a more broad-reaching tool, but I think at a minimum, it's just that study was done in 2009. That's a long time ago for
and the flooding has changed.
Yeah, and the impacts and the environment has changed so much, right? Since then, like rains are more dramatic.
Totally.
Having this plan in place and updated would be leverage for applying to other funds, getting more federal funds, getting more state funds.
I feel immediately sold on.
Okay. What's that?
I feel sold just hearing that. Like I felt it before, but I support.
Are there any parts of the old plan that weren't implemented that still make sense that like should have been implemented? Or
yes, but I don't know what they are because of my expertise. So
well, and presumably they would be woven into the next plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any discussion points? Thoughts?
If they spend the money, will they actually do anything with it?
That's a good question.
I mean, that's the biggest thing. If you spend the money, will anything actually happen other than like we updated it?
And why wasn't the last one implemented?
That's my
parts
concern.
of it were is what we heard.
Well, as we know, like everything takes like this piece takes this effort, and you know, you can lose momentum on things. Like, I mean, we could probably stay the course and support pushing forward the different prongs of it, I guess.
so, Emily, what assurance does the city have about implementation after the plan?
I mean, I think that the idea of having the green space or sustainability or the joint committee stay on it afterwards is probably the best assurance, right? You know, we'll have people who turn over in all of these positions, you know, elected, not elected, commission. So I think that if this is something that's important to green space and sustainability, just kind of keeping it on the agenda, like kind of like the model that sustainability is doing with the Forever Webster Grows, where, you know, they did the big presentation, and then they did like, here are our priorities and here's what we want to do now. And they just keep working that same plan, and it's not sitting in a drawer somewhere. I think that will, you know, if it's important, it sounds like it's important to green space is what I'm taking. I know it's important to sustainability too. So if both commissions or the subcommittee or all three entities kind of keep this on the radar, I think things will get done like they are with other plans that are in constant use, as opposed to, you know, just sitting on a shelf.
Well, I'm committed to keep that in the forefront and work with sustainability as that, and like of all the priorities that we've talked about, I feel like that's the most important thing that we can work on with sustainability.
Their best teamwork area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So what I'm hearing is that this is a high priority. Corin is pointing out exactly how high of a priority.
Yes.
It is. So I will take that back to mayor and council to let them know that this is supported by a green space, and and we'll move forward with that recommendation.
Yeah, and I think going back to Joe's comment, I appreciate that. I know that the city has in the past, I'm thinking about the tree inventory that was invested in, that hasn't been. And then we're starting to dig into the tree inventory now a little bit with the Green Our City because we want to get access to the inventory to put our trees in there that we planted and, you know, put them on a special layer that says this is, these were volunteer planted, and we can watch the plantings grow literally in this plant over time. But I think that was, you know, a inventory was done quite a while ago, and I don't know that it's really been updated. So So I think that's where that kind of originates from, but there's probably other things like that. But I think, Emily, you're right. If we the people keep pushing the agenda, hopefully.
Yeah, and I do appreciate that concern, Joe, and I'll share that along with the recommendation that like we do, the commission does support this plan and wants to make sure that whatever the recommendations come out, that we are able to put those into place as well.
Yeah, I think that's pretty important.
Good.
Any other concerns?
Okay.
None here.
Thank you for that discussion. That was great.
Thank you, Emily.
Okay, so that little stormwater blip jumped ahead of the last item on the list, which is pollinator patrol and some garden maintenance.
Watering.
And watering. So what have you tell us about what you guys have been doing in relationship to the recently planted projects and all that new stuff?
So the city hall, we're watering on the schedule.
Thursday,
like Friday to Monday, and Linda's doing Wednesdays, and then there's going to be a new garden next week.
Hopefully, yeah. I'm hoping they cut it out tomorrow. That's what I was told, but it might be Friday.
The concrete.
And we're going to prep it, and then hopefully we'll plant sometime next week. I hope.
And then we'll volunteer water that on the same schedule. So those we can do locally. But then my concern is Ivy Crockett, which really needs a lot of water until Friday. And then, I mean, it's not a pollinator garden, but the blackburn planting as part of it, you know.
All the trees. Yeah.
We've been watering, so just matter if people can help, that's good.
So you're kind of wanting to do a call for volunteers? Is that what?
Well, it depends how much we're going to talk after. So
Yeah, okay.
I have some time just to volunteer. So if it's easy, I love to water. It's my therapy. So
Yeah, and I would say if you want to rally the troops to help with weeding, as you see, it needs to be weeded.
I did all Ivy Crockett for now. But
okay.
Because we could put up on Greenkeepers. You know, we did that pollinator patrol like flyer that said you gotta get involved. I mean, we could put that out there again and say, if you're interested in weeding any of our new pollinator gardens, please.
Yeah, somebody was asking me about that.
Sign up
from a year ago. Whatever.
I mean, do you think you could create like a?
I mean, right now we don't need that right now. There's no weeds and.
Yeah, and maybe if we do send out something to Greenkeepers, that they can email you unless you coordinate it.
Can you do that and put my email on
I
it?
think
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
Because we put Carrie's on there before.
Right now, we're just trying to get established, so.
Okay, well, do you want to put a list maybe of the new gardens or the gardens that?
And the needs.
Right, and then we can sort of add that to that flyer that we created. And push that out in Greenkeepers.
You can have a volunteer coordinator.
That I'll do.
We put that in Greenkeepers.
Yes.
Like a volunteer coordinator.
I'll coordinate.
Okay.
Go coordinate for the
BBC.
What?
The BBC, the volunteer.
Okay. So just send me kind of that immediate asks, like these are the gardens where we just installed this many square feet of pollinator friendly gardens. And then I'll merge it with that other flyer.
Okay.
And then we'll put your contact on it. And
All right.
okay.
And no more garden plans until
Correct.
fall, maybe.
I think we did it. Okay, I make a motion, do I have to make a motion to end the meeting?
Well,
And
Emily, you just.
Oh, yeah, but no, it's giving you guys. You guys are here.
I mean, I think I did a lot of the council updates, just two more quick ones. It's budget season. So we had a big meeting last night with all of the different directors, really digging into the budget for the new year that'll start July 1. And so if you are interested, that is available on YouTube and really gives a lot of insight in how the city spends the dollars and with details down to each division, including our department, including of course, Parks and Rec. And then the other one is that we are currently interviewing for a new municipal judge. Our current judge, Judge Whitney, will need to, there's a age limitation in the state of Missouri. So he'll need to step down at the beginning of July. And so we interviewed 3 applicants for that last night. That's on the same YouTube recording of the city council meeting. No direct overlap with green space, but I think it's just like an interesting thing that's going on in the city that doesn't happen, you know, super often, and another branch of government and the judicial branch. So just for awareness, that is going on too. Then
what is the age? What is the age limit?
It's 75. And that's a state law.
But they have the experience and knowledge.
Yeah. It's really good.
Apparently there's no way for us to get around that.
All right, thank you, Emily.
Sure.
Do you have any updates
Yes.
for us?
Sit back, it's gonna, no. As Stacy said, if you have any ideas, big picture ideas for the grant, just send them to me directly and I'll compose just a list. And if you happen to have the money that you think it would cost to make it happen, feel free to attach that too. And then also just as we come across any plant giveaways, I think that's always a nice draw on these Eco Ed talks. If people can go home with the milkweed.
Milkweed bugs were great.
Yeah, so if somebody has those resources, which, you know, we could maybe from time to time, but as a school, I guess, something like that. So
Regarding the list for Stacy, are you gonna prioritize those items?
I can put them together and then we can talk.
Okay.
And then that way we at least have something that she has by the end of the month that she can.
So why don't you guys, we have a meeting on, oh no, she needs at the end of the month. This is the beginning of May.
Yeah.
Okay, well, do you want to send us a time limit so that we can get it back and I'll respond?
I would say by the end of the week of the speaker series, the 18th. How's that? So it gives everybody next week and the week after. So, and 3 Fridays, the 3rd Friday.
And maybe you did the laptop get in the budget for next year, or is this something that we
No, this would be something that we could ask for.
Okay.
I was gonna send that in.
Okay.
Laptop screen.
Because that should help with the different plugs and stuff, the cords and
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. That's all.
So by the what day? 18th.
Friday.
It'd be the
19th.
Friday
The 19th.
Got it now.
So
I said, got it now.
Okay, now do I make a motion to?
Anybody can make a motion to it.
Oh, somebody. Make it.
Doesn't have to be the
I'm
chair.
staying.
You're on a roll.
I'm staying.
Yeah, you know it.
I make a motion that we adjourn this.
I second it.
Discussion.
Discussion, we're voting and over.
Aye.
June 5th is our next meeting,
Okay.
which is back to Monday.
Back to Monday, so.
Same place,
Will be,
same time, Monday.
it'll be a new invite, Zoom, because I can.
No, the old invite has the correct dates on it.
Okay, right, because I still get the Monday.
Yeah.
Because I won't be here.
Yeah.
I'll be.
Yeah.
Okay, over and out, Emily.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Emily.
everybody.
I'll be watching pigs do what the goats do here in the areas.
Yeah.
In Yellowstone.
Yeah, they have stickers now.